Hi friends, welcome to the channel. I'm Brian Cosby and this is Provide and Protect. Today we're taking a look at the top 5 knots for your everyday projects. These are 5 knots that are not difficult to tie, but 5 knots that are super helpful. And if you've not already done so, please consider hitting that like button and also subscribing to the channel. I really appreciate you and your support. With that, let's jump right in. So the first essential knot is called the square knot. This is probably the easiest and most recognizable knot there is. And if you want to combine 2 ends of a rope together for really any purpose, this is the knot to use. It's not a very super strong knot. I don't know if I'd trust my life with this knot, but just for kind of everyday purposes, it's a good knot to know and use. And the way you do it is you just do an overhand like that. And here's the way to remember. Instead of doing what I used to call growing up a granny knot, nothing against grannies, but what I used to call a granny knot, is a square knot. See how this right side is coming out from underneath and this left side is coming out over the top? You keep it the same way. So when you cross it, this stays under, this one stays on top, and that is it. See how nice that looks? A nice knot. You can kind of move it in or out, but it's strong. It's strong. Again, I don't know if I trust my life with it, but it's a strong knot. You know, the way you should not do it is, see how this is coming out underneath right here, and this left side is coming out over top. If you do it the reverse, it's going to look wonky and weird. See that? I mean, he even knows what that even looks like. So you want this to come out from underneath, this one to stay on top, and it should look nice and pretty like that. There you have a square knot. So the second knot is called a bowline. And a bowline knot is one that if you want to make a loop at the end of a rope, or if you want to tie the rope around, let's say, a tree as an anchor, and you want a very, very, very strong knot, this is the knot to use. I would trust my life with this knot. And the way to make a bowline knot is you make a loop in the long side here. So I'm just gonna make a loop here. There's my loop. Doesn't matter really how you do it. And the way I learned it as a kid growing up is you take the end here, the rabbit, call this rabbit. Rabbit comes out of the hole. He goes around the little tree and he goes back in this hole. Okay? And just pull all of those and tighten them up. And that right there is an extremely strong knot for a loop. That is the bowline. So the third knot that I think is just essential for your everyday purposes is called the Taut-Line Hitch. And the Taut-Line Hitch is used for cinching anything down. If you want to cinch down a tarp, you can run this in through the grommet of a tarp and cinch that tarp down. If you want to tie lumber in the back of your truck, if you want to cinch down a kayak or canoe on top of your car, I've even used this for hanging feeders for rabbits or chickens, and I can raise and lower the feeder with this knot. And here's how this works. Make sure you give yourself enough excess up here, but you put this through the grommet, around the hook, rafter, whatever on this end. All you got to do is you go around, just go around twice on that. If you want to make it stronger, a lot stronger, you can actually go around again. But you know, a couple times should be good. And then on this top side, on the outside part, you go the same direction. You go back through there, and then all you gotta do is just tighten that up like that. If you want to move it, release the tension on it, and then move this. This just slides up or down on the other rope, but when you put pressure on it, it binds on itself. And it's very, 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 very strong. So Taut-Line Hitch, again, probably my favorite of these 5 knots, and one that I use all the time. So a fourth knot that I think is just really helpful and essential around your home and for a variety of different purposes and uses is called the figure 8 knot. And the figure 8 knot is used if you want to make a loop at the end of your rope, somewhat like the bowline, kind of similar purpose for that. But you know, a lot of climbers will use a figure 8 just because it's so strong. And I used to do a lot of climbing myself, and I would use a figure 8, always attaching my harnesses and carabiners. And there's 2 ways you can do this. The first way is very simple. Make a bite at the end here, a bend at the end of your rope. And then all you got to do is wrap this around. Now, you don't want to go straight through there. That would not be an 8. You want to give yourself enough length of rope. You want to go around here one more time and then back through. That makes more of an 8. That's how you know if it's a figure 8. See how that looks like an 8 right there? So really strong loop at the end of a rope. That's figure 8. So the other way to do a figure 8 knot is, let's say you have a metal ring that can't open or close like a carabiner. It's just a solid metal ring, and you want to just make a loop around it in it. All you gotta do is at some point over here, what you want to do is make a single figure 8, kind of overhand but figure 8 like that. Okay, and all you got to do is you put this end around metal ring that you have, and then you just want to trace this end back through. Just follow back through where the other rope was coming. Just like that. See that? And that's the other way to do a figure 8. But that way, it's a way you can do it if there's a solid ring or something at the end. So great knot, figure 8 knot. So the final knot that I think is just really helpful, if you want to combine 2 ropes together, an easy way to do that is called the sheet bend knot, the sheet bend. And all you got to do is you take, for example, in this case, the thicker rope, and you make what's called a bite bend in the rope. And you take, in this case, I've got a thinner rope. You come through the bite, through the kind of the bend in there. You go around both sides of the thicker rope, and then back through that. And then all you gotta do is pull that tight, and that will not come apart. That's going to do it, folks. Thanks so much for joining me today. If you've not already done so, please consider hitting that like button and also subscribing to the channel. I really appreciate you and your support. And with that, I'll see you on the next video.